The girl coughed once, then drew a shuddering breath. Her eyes opened. The parents cried out in joy, but Valden staggered, clutching his chest. A pain like a thunderbolt tore through him, leaving his hands numb and his skin cold. He quickly left, as the Crozier's weight suddenly felt heavier. Within days, the story was everywhere. People came from neighboring villages, pressing to see the man who could call the dead back from the veil. Valden himself believed the Crozier held the power. At night he laid it on the altar beneath the icon of St. Halomir, and whispered his thanks. He still relied on herbs and poultices for common illness. But when faced with suffering that no mortal means could mend, he turned to the Crozier. Each time he did, he grew weaker. His once steady hands began to tremble. His skin darkened in patches, as though something inside him were rotting. Soon he covered himself fully. Gloves, boots, heavy robes, and a hood that hid his face in shadow. When asked, he smiled faintly and said it was part of his devotion to the saint. The day of the trial came in deep winter. A snowstorm unlike any in memory buried St. Halomir in drifts taller than a man. On the third day, the plague struck. Entire families were taken to bed, their skin pale, their breath rattling. The dead lay in houses too cold to dig graves. Valden could barely stand. Yet when the storm broke enough for voices to carry, he called out, "Bring them all, the sick, the dying, the dead. I will tend to them all." A great tent was raised in the town square. Those not afflicted were ordered to remain outside. Inside, the air reeked of fever and stillness. Valden took his place in the center, the Crozier planted before him. He drew a breath, whispered a prayer, and struck the ground once. Light erupted from the Crozier, rushing outward like a wave. Color returned to the sick. Breath filled the lungs of the dead. The air rang with cries of disbelief and joy. When it was done, the tent was full of the living. But Valden was gone. Only his robes remained in a heap around the Crozier. Inside them was nothing but ash, which a sudden gust carried away into the winter air. No one since has been able to coax a single spark of power from the Crozier. The elders say it waits for one whose life has been given wholly to healing, and who will pay the final price without hesitation. Today, the Crozier stands in the church at the heart of St. Halomir, upright beside the altar. It is polished each winter's first frost, when candles are lit in the square and the name of St. Valden is spoken aloud. And all who pass it know, every breath is borrowed from someone's last. A breath for a breath. Thus is the gift measured. The fifth of the 24 takes to give.